Hey there, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. Got some breaking news today. The Biden administration has nominated a fifth person to fill that final open spot on the FCC, which could have some implications for some controversial issues such as net neutrality. Be right back. Hey there, Rick Husey with Quorum with Broadband Deployment News. So this is breaking news. I saw this today. So Biden nominates telecom attorney Ana Gomez to FCC after more than 2 years of deadlock. So the commission's been deadlocked 2-2, two Republicans, two Democrats for the entire Biden administration or his entire presidency. So, and he had nominated, as we'll see here, Gigi Sohn, who was a controversial pick based on some things she'd said in the past. She was never able to get confirmed in the Senate. So you see here, President Joe Biden nominated telecom attorney Ana Gomez. It's his second attempt to fill an empty seat on the typically 5-member panel. It's left at 2-2 deadlocked. This has, I'm assuming that means left. This has left more contentious issues like net neutrality off the table, despite the Biden administration's hope to restore rules that would prohibit internet service providers from blocking or favoring certain content. And I have some things to say about that. There's a very big picture of Ms. Gomez because this is blown up so we can read it. You see here, source NTIA. So she did work, as we'll see here, she worked for the NTIA for a period of time. President Joe Biden nominated telecom attorney Ana Gomez to the FCC, a second attempt to fill an empty seat on the typically 5-member panel. It's left at 2-2 deadlock for his entire presidency. The nomination comes a couple of months after Biden's previous nominee, Gigi Sohn, withdrew herself from consideration following a years-long fight for confirmation. So, again, she had said some things that Republicans didn't like regarding, I think, Fox News and some other things where it was questionable as to how objective she could be specifically. And so she did not get very far really in that process. I mean, it just was a fight back and forth, and there were some Democrats that also were not on her side, so she withdrew. So this is they're trying to get a fifth person on the commission because it's supposed to be 5 commissioners on there. Generally, of course, the party that's in power is going to have the swing vote, and they have not had that since Biden's been in office. The 2-2 split between Democrats and Republicans on the FCC has meant that only actions that could gain the support of at least one Republican commissioner have been able to move forward. That's left more contentious issues like net neutrality off the table, despite the Biden administration's hope to restore the rules that would prohibit internet service providers from blocking or favoring certain content. So, see, the issue I have with this is that we have net neutrality now. We don't have net neutrality regulations, but we have net neutrality. So anybody who wants to go anywhere on the internet, assuming it's legal content, can get there. You don't try to go somewhere and then suddenly you can't get there. And there's really not any issues. What does it say? Blocking or favoring certain content. We've had some things in the past where internet service providers, one example was they were blocking at one point BitTorrent because BitTorrent was a peer-to-peer file sharing service. And it was the kind of thing where if you were a residential internet user and you had BitTorrent on your computer, not only could you download stuff from other places, and quite often it was copyright protected stuff. BitTorrent was not necessarily always, for legal kinds of things. I mean, it could have been, like copyrighted movies and other stuff that people were sharing. So because of that, it was kind of questionable as to the service and what it was used for. But then also, again, if you were a BitTorrent user, you could set yourself up as a server. And then let's say you put copyrighted content on your PC, which was acting like a server. So let's say it was some movie that people wanted to watch and you didn't have the rights to distribute that movie, then people from all over the world could come to your PC and download that. So in addition to you having, downloading stuff through BitTorrent, you were in essence becoming a server. So therefore, you would be using not just downstream, but upstream bandwidth from your service provider. And the time that this was being throttled or blocked by internet service providers was at a time when peer-to-peer traffic was one of their biggest bandwidth hogs or sources, because really streaming video was not that big yet. So people weren't using the internet for that much stuff. And, service providers had purchased a certain amount of bandwidth, and they certainly weren't thinking so much about uploads and those kinds of things. So they were blocking BitTorrent traffic. And quite often, like I say, a lot of it was strictly for file sharing. And a lot of that file sharing was stuff that really wasn't supposed to be shared. Now, later on, people started using BitTorrent for valid reasons, like gaming companies would let folks download their next version of their gaming software through BitTorrent. So if a service provider is blocking BitTorrent, then suddenly these valid kinds of downloads didn't work. So there was a case, it might have been Comcast, I don't remember, I shouldn't name names if I'm not sure, but there was a service provider that was blocking BitTorrent, and the FCC and folks got involved, and it was taken care of. There were no net neutrality regulations, but the FCC got involved, and it was taken care of. So there have been a few things here and there. There was going to be paid prioritization, and again, no net neutrality rules in place, but there was a lot of pushback on that, and it didn't happen. So again, the market has taken care of it, and the regulators that we have in place now, which would be the FCC and the FTC, have taken care of it without having to put a lot of onerous rules on internet service providers. Again, there's no net neutrality issues right now. It's a net neutral network, and everybody's concerned or worried about what could happen, and they want rules and regulations in place to stop that. But my opinion has always been, wait till something happens, and if it's not addressed, then make a rule. But so far, only a couple of things have happened, and it's been taken care of without rules or regulations. And rules and regulations just mean more price increases for you, a consumer, because therefore internet service providers have to put lots of things in place to follow those rules. And there's it's just if you don't need it, why have it? That's been my opinion on that, and so far it's been correct. We haven't had an issue. I'm sure you, as an internet consumer, in addition to whatever else you do, you have not had any issues going anywhere. So we don't need net neutrality rules. That's my opinion. Now in July. Oh, and by the way, so the Trump administration had repealed some regulations that had been put in place in the Obama administration, and as part of that, the FCC and the FTC got together and they said, we will handle this with the current enforcement that we have available to us. So now, from that point on, and I'm assuming continuing under the Biden administration, if something happens, the FCC and the FTC will work together as far as identifying and then taking action on anybody that would do something that looked like it was not net neutral. And this is without any new rules. In July 2021, Biden issued an executive order that encouraged the FCC to restore net neutrality rules, which took hold while he was vice president in the Obama administration, but were repealed under the Trump administration's FCC chair. That was Chairman Pai. Gomez is a senior advisor for international information and communications policy in the State Department's Bureau of Cyberspace and Digital Policy, according to the White House. She previously served as deputy administrator for the NTIA. Gomez has previously worked for the FCC in several positions over 12 years, the White House said. She's also worked in the private sector, including as a partner at the law firm Wiley Rein, prior to joining the State Department in 2023. Early in her career, she served as vice president for federal and state government affairs for Sprint Nextel. So it certainly sounds like she's got a lot of experience and qualified. FCC Chair Jessica Rosenworcel said in a statement that Gomez brings with her a wealth of telecom experience, a substantial record of public service, and a history of working to ensure the U.S. stays on the cutting edge of keeping us all connected. And that's an important goal, obviously. Gomez's nomination also received praise from the telecom industry. So Tom Reed, chief legal officer at Comcast, and some people are probably thinking right now, oh, the large ISPs are praising her. That means she's probably not a good pick. But then you'll see other people are praising her that are on the totally opposite end of the spectrum. So, and people are going to say nice things at this point. We'll have to see what comes out during the confirmation process. So Tom Reed, again, chief legal officer at Comcast, says her deep knowledge across the breadth of issues before the FCC makes her exceptionally qualified to be a commissioner. Jonathan Spalter, president and CEO of U.S. Telecom, mentions that they represent providers like AT&T and Verizon. So again, this is an association that represents large telecoms. Says, I've come to know Anna over the years in her roles as an advocate in the public and private sectors, and if confirmed, I look forward to working with her and a full 5-member FCC on our shared objective to connect everyone everywhere to the power and promise of broadband. This is from Free Press. And the Free Press is a net neutrality advocate, so that's what they're working towards, is net neutrality. They want the net neutrality rules. We're now approaching 2.5 years without a fully functional FCC. That's true. Free Press CEO Jessica J. Gonzalez said in a statement, "Never before has the American public had to wait so long for a commissioner's seat to be filled. The census delay is harming millions of people, including working families trying to pay their rising monthly bills in Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and rural communities that the biggest telecom companies and broadcast conglomerates have long neglected." So that's a bit hyperbolic and woke for me to even take seriously, but that's the comment from the Free Press person. Then we have here, Biden also re-nominated 2 existing commissioners to the panel, Democrat Jeffrey Starks and Republican Brendan Carr. The agency cannot have more than 3 commissioners from one party at a given time. So again, I don't know a lot about her other than what I'm reading here, but it sounds like she's certainly qualified from that perspective. Again, we won't know how this will go. I think, whoever's in charge, the other party tends to fight the nomination to some extent in whatever it is, whether it's a judicial court appointee or if it's a commissioner at an agency like this or something else. That's generally the case, that folks will fight that. So I don't know. I don't think we'll know until the Senate committee meets and we see what comes up. If there's anything, they're going to dig through her tweets just like they did with Gigi Sohn and anybody else, again, that gets qualified. So generally the party that's not in power will seek to make it difficult for that person to get in unless they really do feel like, okay, this is going to be somebody that is going to be fair. But if there's always going to be, it's political. Again, as there's two on one side, 2 on the other, and we're adding a third that's going to make this democratically or Democrat controlled. So we'll have to see. So we'll see again what tweets come out, what they'll look back at a record, and they'll put up somewhat of a fight. But if they feel like she's qualified and not, going to be objectively looking at this as much as possible, being a partisan on one end or the other, then she'll probably get nominated. So we'll have to see. And again, I look forward to that, seeing what comes out about that. So thanks for joining me. If this was helpful, or if you like this video, if you'd give me a like, just hit the thumbs up on the video. And if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button to be notified when I'm live. And that will be the next time for Broadband Deployment News. Don't know if I'll be here tomorrow, but generally I'm here every day. Thanks a lot, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.